things. Hi, everybody. I got to drag some stuff around so Meg can say hi to you while I get my other things going. Da-da-da.
Hello.
Hello. I need a little color in my face.
Besides gray, that would help.
I could use sunshine. Oh, good eye. Oh, I was
looking everywhere.
Sad. Everywhere but the place.
Everywhere but the place. Rachel is in a serious creative mood today, so I'm like, I love this, but you have to focus right now.
I don't wanna. All right. Hi, everybody. Sorry we weren't here last. Well, we're not sorry. Thank you for your patience for us not being here last week and getting to see you. But we were in Cedar Rapids, having a lot of fun at the Flying Weenie.
Nothing like a flying weenie in Cedar Rapids.
It was quite tasty.
It was a good, real beef hot dog.
They use the term Italian beef a lot, and I don't know what that means really.
At the Flying Weenie they did?
Yeah.
Oh.
The picture says Italian beef hot dog, and then when we wouldn't have those sandwiches, it said Italian beef sandwiches.
This is because I learned when
tell me.
Yeah, when
Tell
we
me
went
more.
to the
Tell the
Italian beef place. Italian beef is a thing in Chicago.
Well, I assumed it was some kind of. It felt Chicagoan.
Yeah,
but I didn't know what that meant. What it means though.
It means roast beef.
That's what I thought it seemed like.
I don't know, but apparently, so New Mike is a Chicagoan.
Yes. Oh.
And so he's like, I don't know if you're going to be able to impress me with this Italian beef in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. When we went to that
what do you
Giovanni's,
think? Yeah.
He's like, it's the best Italian beef sandwich I've had outside of Chicago. So he gave it serious approval.
That is quite a compliment.
Yeah, so this is a very big thing for people in Chicago, which is weird because even when I was living in Chicago on and off for that summer, nobody ever talked about that. They all talked about pizza.
Yeah.
All about pizza.
Well, their pizza is like a week-long meal for one bite. It's crazy.
Yeah. So Italian beef, for anybody who's wondering, is like
Rapids.
What we around here call roast beef sandwich.
Yeah,
sometimes you might have au jus drizzled over it.
I had liquid cheese.
Oh.
Cheese-flavored product. Like whatever that
preservatives
nacho cheese
in its
stuff.
cheese-flavored.
Yeah, with a little orange food dye.
Orange food dye.
Yeah.
This is how I will get cancer.
Yellow number 5, red number 2 mixed together. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
But it was tasty, very messy, but very good.
Yeah.
I ate just the beef out of my sandwich because by the time I had mine wrapped, by the time I got there, the bread was literally disintegrating from all the juicy things. I don't know how anyone gets takeout there, but anyway, so I just ate the meat out of the sandwich, and the meat was very good.
Yeah, it was good.
It was really nice. So anyway, Cedar Rapids. If you're ever going there, we can send you to the good places to eat.
It is familiarly known as the City of Five Smells. We learned
Five Seasons is the official.
Yes, but the official motto is City of Five Seasons, but what Iowans call it is the City of Five Smells.
Yeah,
and
Iowans not in Cedar Rapids. We should be clear.
Well, maybe even there. I threw it out at a couple people, and they just chuckled and said, "Yep, that smells here."
Oh, okay, all right.
There's a lot of grain and corn manufacturing there.
Yeah, it's the world's largest.
Yeah, is that what he told us?
Yeah, that's what he said, grain manufacturing or something.
So,
crazy.
It was pretty cool because it was really cool to see all this American industry.
Yeah, that part was awesome. Yeah. And to see people like out on break, while they're on shift, and like it was a really like it was definitely our people kind of place.
Yes.
We really liked it. It was really fun. We kind of tease a little bit because it's Iowa, but they kind of deserve that part. But we did actually love going there.
Yeah. It was great.
It was really, really great. So, sorry we were gone last week, but it was great fun. We had a great time. We got to travel. It's really easy to get there. Really, really nice people. They had a crazy storm in August of last year. So if you want to see some crazy video footage of nasty storm, just Google Cedar Rapids August 2020 storm, and you will get all kinds of videos. Crazy. Like 120 mile an hour straight line winds that were like snapping trees.
For hours.
Oh, it was nuts.
They said it was like hours
It went on
long.
and on. And you could see the dark sky rolling in. It's like we're used to big storms around here, but it was looking nasty.
Yeah, it was a bad deal. Derecho was the name of the storm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway. All right, well, on to the things that Shelley has put together for us on our behalf. We are so excited to launch the Helix Assessment website. It is going live next Friday, and we'll post it here first. It might be posted, we might have a soft opening through this group, but before that. But Friday is going live.
Yes, so if you have anyone in your world, business or personal, that would, yourself included, that wants to take the Helix assessment in the Culture Type assessment in the new Helix system, we're going to air it here first. So if you've got anybody who wants to take it or should take it, you should invite them to the group before next Friday.
Yeah, right.
So that they can get the sneak peek.
Yeah, we have new personal dashboards. We have like drop downs where you can say, well, I'm an organizer and someone I know is a stabilizer, or I think they are. So what does that mean about how I can work with them or talk to them better? Or can I fix this relationship I have with someone? Or I always talk to my cousin and we seem to never connect. And what is that about? And so all kinds of relationship stuff can be solved with this little assessment. So definitely send people. And if you want to take it again, because you may have taken it long ago before we had our dashboard with your results and a little video and everything, you should check it out. If you haven't, if you don't have a Helix password and access, you should definitely check it out.
You should totally take it again. It will change your life, even more than it did the first time you took it.
Yeah, most people that were on our old system got an invite into the new system. So a lot of you maybe got the invite, but never actually checked it out. So if you have an invite, never checked it out, go look at it.
Yeah, right. And we will shame you for the next month, so you should just do it.
We'll totally shame you. And, one more request that Shelly has. Yeah, we should just have a list of shaming. And we just go through the list every week.
Wouldn't it be nice if all of our IX leadership group members knew what it was like to be in Helix? Wouldn't that be nice, Rachel?
It would be nice. It would make my heart so happy as a team-driven person.
Yes, we would love to see all your names in there.
I love it.
Maybe we'll have a Helix party for all the people who do it.
We could send out an invitation only to anyone who's in there. That's a great idea.
Virtual happy hour. Okay.
That'd be super fun. Just happy hour generally sounds good.
Yeah.
And then I get to see all you people. That'd be even better. Shelly would also like to get your story. So if you've used Helix culture types and you've like, oh yeah, that really helped me understand my boss, or that made me figure out that I was not really suited to my job role, and I kind of knew that, but that was like really reassuring that I was making the right decision about my career, or whatever it may have been for you. Shelly would love to know about it because she's trying to highlight different experiences and different value and how people are finding different value. So by using Helix. So check it out. If you have that information for Shelly, please send it her way. You can either reach out by messaging this IX leadership group. Shelly checks that. Or you can reach out to her at shelly@rosegroupintl.com and just contact her directly.
All right.
All right. I don't like that I can't.
This was happening last time.
I know. I don't know how to make it. I'm trying to look at comments, but it's not letting me see them. So anyway, let's carry on. All right. What else?
If you have any valuable knowledge that you can share with people, we would like to do a series of takeovers for the live this year, and going forward. So a couple that we've already talked about. We've got some experts. Branding, so company branding, accounting for small businesses and entrepreneurs, kind of tips and tricks with tax challenges and accounting. Website, digital marketing is one of them. So we've got, ADA website compliance is another one. So we've got several just kind of different all over the place. And we're happy to have it be really anything, So like if you're an expert in kind of it's all life and how do you balance your all life, love to have other perspectives on that kind of stuff, or any business aspect, or maybe you want to review a book that's a great leadership book,
self-development,
self-development, or any kind of a business book. So reach out to Shelly. Again, as normal, all roads lead to Shelly in our social media world. So reach out to Shelly and let her know if you'd be interested in that.
Yeah, you said something there that triggered a thought for me. Oh, Shelly, you should reach out to Ashley and see if she wants to do a Clubhouse one. She's been rocking it out on Clubhouse and automated social media activity and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that is a good one. She might have already, she told me a whole list of them. She might have already talked to Ashley.
Might have already be on there.
I don't know.
Probably. All right. So our weekly quote this week on page 179 of the book, which I actually have. Here, let's show it to the people in case they haven't looked at their book for a while.
It looks like this.
Looks like this. Weekly quote, page 179. Empathy is often misunderstood as a soft trait. In reality, empathy is essential to powerful leadership. And that is true because a lot of times we think, well, I think servant leadership sort of leads us to think that empathy is like you're kind of a limp dish rag around, like holding people accountable and actually being a strong leader. So it's really a tool. That's how I think of empathy.
Yeah, we say empathy, you use empathy as a strategy. So it's a way to understand what resonates with people so that you can best hone your message to their ear, not for what you think their perception should be. So it's not really about making excuses for people, and it's not really about hugging them or saying, I understand what you're going through. It's really about how do I convey in my actions and the way we run our business that I do understand what's going on for you, and we're running a business. That's the accountability side of it. So it's a really important tool. And I will say that even people who are not empathetic can use empathy as a strategy. There's a lot of people in the world that think I'm super nice, great at delivering messages and getting. Rachel always says,
Just don't know her very well.
it's crazy how you can give people a bad message and they're still like really excited about it at the end.
It's a gift. That part is a gift for sure.
Well, that might be a gift, but the tool behind the gift is that you learn how to deliver empathy as a strategy, not as a warm hug or a wet dish rag.
Yeah, limp dish rag. It's not good. Yeah, that's one thing too. That it is really interesting. We're talking about this around the office about how putting yourself in someone else's shoes and the power behind that and how that helps communication and resonance and all that stuff. So it's a really critical leadership skill that you can really exercise on a regular basis. So even if you don't go all the way over to the empathy side, the first step is trying to understand someone else's perspective. So that's kind of the baby step, or actually it's a giant step in the direction of empathy.
Okay, weekly writing prompt.
Ooh, this is good.
What's your tell? How does your body break through the noise for you? So Rachel wrote a little sort of blog post about this the other day.
LinkedIn story.
Yeah, I'm just going to start calling everything a blog post. If it's not an article, it's a blog post.
Oh, whatever.
It's just easier for my brain.
I know she is has hard organizer tendencies.
I'm a compartmentalizer.
She really is, like, especially the names of things is I'm finding it's very important.
We should do a poll. Shelley, you should do a poll in the IX leadership group and see if like job titles and names of things are important, just as a fun. Because I think I'm right.
Yeah.
And Rachel's just really chaos tolerant.
I just don't care. Like, as long as you're doing the things.
Yeah, well, they're not if they don't know what their job title is. I promise you, it's a thing.
Job titles.
Anyway.
Nonsense.
What is your tell?
Nonsense, I say.
Rachel wrote a blog post about this on LinkedIn, and her tell is, what is it? Heartburn. When her body is super stressed out. So it's not your tell, like, how do people know you're lying? But
yeah, it's an internal awareness of something.
What does your body do to
Because when I'm high intensity a lot. And so when
No joke.
Right. Have you seen the emails today? I'm high intensity a lot. So for me, stress doesn't really break through that. I'm always like all the time. So to be more stressed out, I think, is more of a subconscious thing. So I don't really feel more stressed, like intellectually feel more stressed out. So that's why my body finally has to go like, hey, pay attention. I never have heartburn. I don't have any problems with, like, I don't get nauseous very easy. And there was one time I was very proud of myself. I didn't throw up for like 12 years in a row. Right?
Knock on wood for you on that.
Yeah, well, then I got the flu and
well, you've probably started over since then.
I probably have, yeah. So having a small child always brings the germs home, but I'm actually on a pretty long stretch probably. But anyway, yeah, so I'm pretty iron stomach, but boy, my master's thesis written exams, we had to pick up the questions at 8 a.m. from the office, go to some quiet place, and you had 5 questions you had to write, like essay answers to long form essay answers, and you had to pick like 3 questions out of 5 or something and write them, and then you had to turn it back in by 5 o'clock the same day.
Heartburn City.
Yeah, and actually I had a migraine too. So I had heartburn the week leading up to it. And then I had a migraine when I got up. So I picked up my stuff, I went home, read the questions, and then lay down for a 2-hour nap. Because I could not work through the migraine. But as soon as I read the questions, I'm like, okay, I know what that looks like. So maybe it's also a little bit lack of control. Is the stressor for me, or lack of clarity or whatever. So I don't know. We've talked about this before. What was yours? Your tell.
I'm trying to remember.
I don't know. Pretty much this area of your body seems like headache, neck.
Yeah. I suppose that's what it is. My tell is when this takes a severe amount of self-awareness, which I happen to have.
Yes, thank God. This is the blessing
but
that I have.
Like when I get super short with people and then I'm thinking, what is actually wrong with you? And then I'm like, wait a minute. I know that person is smart or good at their job, or my kid didn't mean to be a jerk, or my husband's not being...
Or they're actually not being jerks.
Or they're not, but I think they are.
You're reacting the way as if they are.
I'm like, oh, I must be stressed out.
Yeah.
So that's my tell really for me is I'm being a jerk.
Asshole behavior.
Yeah. To other people. And then I'm like, oh, huh. My physical one is I get a weird, ginormous canker sore on the right side of my tongue in the same spot every time.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. Same. I discovered this in college 1 year during finals. And I was like, I couldn't even eat, probably because I was stressed out, but also because my mouth hurt so bad. And then I got a headache because I felt like crap because I couldn't eat.
I know.
The whole thing. And I was like, why is this happening? And then I noticed it the next semester with finals, and I'm like, oh, there's a theme here.
Yeah.
So that is my physical tell.
Interesting. Have you, let me know if that ever comes back.
Oh, yeah. I haven't, I have learned to manage it a little. The bitchiness is first, and then this sets in.
That's more.
So then I'm like, uh-oh, I'm stressed, I better calm down. And then I don't get one.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Well, if you ever get one.
Yeah.
I can tell you about the bitchy part. I can't tell you about the canker sore thing. So.
Yep.
All right. Good to know. So if you would like to share your tell or how you react to uber stress, or maybe even what your stressful event was that made you go, oh, I better pay attention. I guess a follow-on question that Shelley had for us is, how do you correct it? You're knowing that once you're aware that you're tipped over into the red zone, how do you correct it?
Well, I think the big challenge in stress for most people is that you feel outside pressure, not just inside pressure. Because most people can manage their inside pressure. Like if you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself, most people can figure out how to manage that. I think it's when
alcohol or other means, you mean?
Well, maybe. But I mean, I think it's when you feel like other people, because even as a super self-driven person, if I feel like I'm letting other people down, that stresses me out to a point where I feel like I can't manage it. So anyway, I think really knowing what the source of stress is a good way to start correcting it, and then decide what things, if it's someone external to you, what things can you actually do to manage that. And a lot of times, this is easier for me as a self-driven person than it is for some other people. You just go say, hey, listen, I've been thinking a lot about this one thing that I'm not getting done. And it's stressing me out really bad. And I need to talk to you about it because I'm afraid I'm going to miss a deadline or screw it up or whatever. And a lot of times just having the conversation helps.
Saying words out loud, getting out of your head. Yeah, for sure. Because when I had that situation, I didn't have any support at home. I was kind of you don't want to, at that point, you didn't know what to expect, and you could talk to friends about being stressed, but I didn't have a supportive partner where I could be ugly crying, I don't know what to do, I'm freaking out, and I'm saying it'll be all right, don't sweat it, whatever. I didn't have that kind of support structure at the time, so that would have helped a lot, I'm sure, just kind of leaning into it. I guess for me now, I think getting things out of your head is really important, whether it's you make a plan or you talk about it, or you just write down all the things so you have some visual of, okay, I do understand what I have to do, and this doesn't look as scary as I thought. Because a lot of times when we try to do something too big, we don't know how to tackle it, and it just overwhelms us. Whereas if you just like, what's one thing I can do, and just start kind of chipping away at it. The other thing for me is sleep. I just need sleep. If I get low sleep, less, and I don't sleep that great right now, so if I get less than optimal sleep, then my temper's shorter, my physical I make bad choices on what I eat and all that stuff. So for me, I'm really becoming a sleep believer, man.
It's true.
For sure. All right. So here's a question I'll ask you, and I'll let you answer it.
All right.
Our company hired a consultant to come in, probably Rose Group, because we're amazing, to help us work on communication. It's stressful having strangers in the office. How do I make the most of this training?
Well, first I have to say, if it's stressing you out having strangers in the office, consider the source of your stress. It is you. It is not them, in the sense of you're probably order tolerant, and so it's stressing you out because there's something new and different in your world. So think about that first. Think about, okay, this is uncomfortable for me, but that doesn't mean that this new consultant person is a pain in my ass. Because I've noticed as a consultant coming into other organizations, or even when I was in an HR function, I'd come in to help departments with things sort of ancillary to their operations, but still helping them be operational. Like you get all this shade thrown on you, like, oh, you're going to make it worse, you're going to make it harder. And a lot of times that comes from inside of people who are uncomfortable with the change. So first thing I would say, give them grace and think about why you're uncomfortable. And then jot down a few questions that you might have for them. And they could be questions like conversation starters, like, hey, do you have any kids? Or what do you like to do in your spare time? Or I really like your shoes. So that you can get more comfortable with who they are. And then also, what do you think are some good outcomes for us to think about with this engagement? Or, what is the number? Here's an easy one. Doesn't have anything to do with your business necessarily. What are some of the communication challenges you hear from your other clients? So I guess think internally first, and then develop a way to communicate with them so you don't feel so uncomfortable. My only caveat to that is if you have a shitty consultant and they are in there looking over your shoulder, or you've kind of gotten the sense that they're there babysitting everybody because the executives have come and said, I want you to babysit everybody and see what they're actually doing. I get that. That's uncomfortable. But still, you can make friends with those people. They're not there. No consultant I've ever met, even ones who are hired to be babysitters, have ever really been ill-intended. They all want to help the people that they're talking to. So give them a little grace.
The other thing to think about is how can I leverage this person to my benefit?
Yeah.
So we can attest, and when we first go into a company, often it's a little bit of there's usually an early phase where you're learning everybody and everyone's learning stuff and figuring out who's who and where the places are and how we can help and all that stuff. If you need help with something, instead of saying, oh, this person's going to freak me out, say, hey, I bet this person can help me with this problem I'm having. Their communication, oh, I have a communication challenge with Betsy. Can you help me figure that out? Really, they're being paid to be there to help solve those kinds of things. So you think of them as how can you work with them to help make your life better? And that would also make them happy too.
Yeah, and here's a little consultant consumer tip. If you have issues at work right now, but you don't want to talk about them with anyone at all, just change the context a little bit. It's not like the consultant needs to know, it's Rachel that I have a problem with. So you could say, hey, this is a little unrelated, but I had this situation at a previous employer where I could not get on the same page with person because of XYZ. Or, man, I got a 3-year-old and every time I talk to them about something, no matter if I draw them a picture or whatever, they're not getting it. You can change the context and the consultant will still be able to offer you suggestions on how to handle that situation, and it doesn't really damage what semblance of a relationship there might be with you and this person that you're not really understanding. So you don't have to tell exactly the truth to a consultant. They just need to know
the context.
The context.
Yeah. All right. Oh, I like this one too.
Okay, I'll ask you.
You want to read it? Okay. Okay, you read it.
I work for a large corporation. We have several members on our team. A few weeks ago, my supervisor said that a couple of ideas I had were not achievable and to go back to the drawing board. At our next board meeting, he presented these ideas to our executive team as his own. They loved them. I said nothing. How do I prevent this from happening in the future?
You
Quit.
leave. Screw that guy. It is weird though, I have to tell you. My daughter had this happen this week actually. She's on in a class where they have to work in groups. Blah. Anyway. And she did a lot of the work and was showing us all the work that she was doing. It's a Minecraft kind of class where they're learning about government through, building stuff in Minecraft. Gamification, yeah. It's really smart. And so she was showing us all the stuff she was building and how she designed things. So we know she did a lot of these particular buildings, which are really cool. Well, when they went to do the group presentation, the girl that went first basically took credit for everything. And so even though she didn't do it, she's one of those that hardly shows up and maybe did some tiny little thing, but then they had to fix it anyway kind of stuff. And then she took all the credit. And Alex was just like, well, what do I do? And it's really hard because on one hand, if the people that are important know that the right thing, that it's yours, then maybe it doesn't matter that these other people don't know. But at the same time, to be not valued for your contribution and to feel like someone is getting credit for your hard work sucks. So I would, that's a tough one. I mean, to have your boss take your idea and present it as his own, I don't know how you make that better. Are you going to confront the guy and then he's going to be like, well, they were my ideas. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, if we assume that this guy isn't a jerk, so if we start there, because that's our rule, then
I guess.
Maybe what you heard, like your ideas aren't good, go back to the drawing board, isn't what he meant. And maybe he's a really terrible communicator, clearly. So if that's true, and then he presented the idea, I'm giving this guy a lot of credit.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, but if that's true, or if you can just kind of tell yourself a fib that that's true, then it makes it easier to go have the conversation and say, hey, I noticed you presented these ideas to the board. Tell me why when I presented them to you, they didn't quite seem complete. Did you add something to them? Like, what about what you presented makes them better than what I presented to you? And just stick to business. Say, hey, I want to learn from this, so in the future, can you, tell me how I could present ideas better so that you would be more receptive? Because you weren't receptive or didn't seem like it, and then you presented them to the board. So tell me how I get better. That's how I would have the conversation. Because if you don't, he might still continue to steal ideas, but if you don't ever have the conversation, you're just going to continue to hate him.
Yeah, well,
and then he's not and be vengeful.
And he's not given notice that you're paying attention.
Yeah,
right. That's the other thing.
I mean,
and I do have to say, I had a class. I teach project management class where we have group assignments, and I had one group of guys from a local base, airmen, show up, and I was looking at their results on the wall, and this one guy said, well, I did this and I did that, and then I did this thing. And I said, you mean we, right? Like, you didn't do this, your whole team did it. And he's like, well, yeah. And so he just honestly did not hear himself saying, I did it. And his team was standing around. It wasn't like he was trying to pull something over on me. So in that sense, he honestly didn't know. And I actually corrected him about it. And I'm like, hey, you guys did this too, right? Because he kept doing it. And then finally, before the end of the class, he was like, we did this, and that. And so, but he honestly didn't know. Like, he just was talking in first person. So
yeah, the other thing
is kind of weird.
Yeah,
I didn't understand that, but I'm a team-driven person. So
the other thing, the most important sentence, frankly, in this whole thing is, I said nothing.
I agree.
Whose responsibility? Like, you're in that meeting. If you were invited to that meeting and he presents all these ideas and he says I, then you could have raised your hand and said, made a point of something and said, yeah, when we did the analysis
when we first discussed this, we also talked about
these 7 things. So the fact that you didn't include yourself in the meeting with the board is on you, whether you like this guy or not, whether you trust him or not. I mean, you have to be. There's nobody in the whole world that's going to be your own representative but you. So if you're not willing to do anything about it, you will never prevent this from happening with this person or any other person you work for.
Yeah, I remember a lesson I learned early, like when I was at McDonald's. At my first real job was
Flipping burgers.
I flipped burgers. I ran the grill on our busiest day of the year, and I emerged from the grill area, and my eyelashes were sticking because I had so much.
Oh my God! Doesn't it make
steamy-
you not want to eat at
So good.
McDonald's?
So good. So good. Anyway, so when I was there, I'd run around and done a bunch of extra stuff when it wasn't busy. And then I was kind of pissy that I wasn't thanked for it. And so then I was like, well, I did the blah, blah thing or wiped down the whatever or did the dishes or whatever I did. And the boss is like, thank you. I don't know you did that unless I know you did that. So you have to tell me, let me know that you did it. I just expected him to notice and thank me. So that is another thing. Like, if they don't know, they don't know. Meaning, if the board members don't know that's your idea, they'll never know it's your idea.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay, we don't have very much time.
Oh,
I don't
go.
have, and I
Yeah.
gotta have a bathroom break
Potty
before my
break.
next meeting.
Okay.
I have no idea what
Well,
the
this
good
is
news
this is a great story. I'll tell it.
Okay. Yeah.
So Shaquille O'Neal
Yes.
is in a jewelry store somewhere.
Okay.
I'm sure the article tells us.
Buying some gold cufflinks
Who knows
with
what
basketballs. Let's
who
just
knows
say.
what he's buying.
Okay.
He's a big dude. He's probably buying like a ring that's like this big around.
Yes.
Probably gets all of his stuff custom because nothing normal would fit him.
It's true.
Anyway, so there's a young man who was in the store buying an engagement ring and
Okay.
kind of like trying to decide what to get and whatever. And Shaquille O'Neal bought his ring for him.
Wow.
Yeah, he just paid the bill.
Aww.
Yeah, it was really fun.
I think my favorite goodwill stories are ones where people who have too much money spend it on other people.
Especially in
that's my-
surprising ways.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be like, well, I donated $1 million to the children's wing at the blah blah thing.
Right. Yeah, but this kind of stuff, like
just
they're
the
good
cuff.
people then, right? Like that's what I think is cool about it.
It's so fun. So we can't see comments today for some reason. So I'm sure Shelly's posting the link to the story. It is so cute. And it was kind of running around, so you may have seen it. But if you haven't, it's definitely worth seeing. Really sweet.
Awesome.
So that is our some good news for today, for
Woohoo!
this week. All right, well, Meg has to pee. And she has a 4 o'clock, so she's got to go. But thank you for being here.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Lead
and
powerfully.
change the world. See you next week. Trying to end the video. Ah!